Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Industry Insights panel. We're joined today by three leaders from arts and cultural institutions in our city to discuss successes, innovations, and opportunities for collaboration. My name is Leigh Jacobson. I'm Director of Events and Programs at the Seattle Metro Chamber, and this is our second Industry Insights panel. Keep an eye on our YouTube channel because each quarter we'll spotlight a different regional industry and its impact on the local economy and have a conversation just like this. So before I introduce our panelists today, I just want to share a couple of statistics to really underline how important the arts and culture sector is in our region and in our state. So 50% of Washington adults attend or interact with a cultural experience or institution in their region. And that means regionally or in our city, over 4 million total attendees are paying admission to arts and cultural programs and events in a year. So people are enjoying it. And it's important not only to the economy, but just to the vibrancy of downtown. And I'm sure our panelists will speak to that. So to introduce them, we have Bill Berry, Executive Director at the Fifth Avenue Theater, Alvin Henry, CMO of Seattle Theater Group, and Kate Nagle Caraluzzo, Executive Director of Town Hall Seattle. So thank you three for joining us today. We will start just with an introduction from each of you. So if you can tell us a bit about your organization and how it fits into the arts, culture, and heritage sector or ecosystem in our region. Bill, let's start with you.
First of all, thanks, Leigh, for having us. I'm happy to be here. As you said, I'm Bill Berry. I'm the executive director at the Fifth. I've been at the Fifth Avenue for roughly 25 years, but was recently appointed to executive director. I've been in this position for about 5 months. The Fifth Avenue is a mix of presenting large Broadway tours as well as producing. And a lot of our work is mostly in the producing area at this point, although we will occasionally have a tour. This season we have Parade, which was the Tony Award-winning musical on Broadway, coming in as a tour. We also run engagement and education programs throughout the state of Washington. Two key programs are our educational touring program, which brings original musicals directly to schools throughout Washington state and introduces students to the idea of culture and musicals right in their cafeterias or their gyms or whatever space they say they have for us. And then we also run a program called the Rising Star Project, which currently is on pause for this year, but it introduces students to professional theater environments in all the areas, the administrative arts areas, the backstage areas, on stage, the musicians, every aspect of what it means to put on a musical. So that's a little bit about us.
Thank you. Alvin, would you like to share next?
Sure. Thank you for having us. Good morning. My name is Alvin Henry, and I'm the CMO for Seattle Theater Group. I've been in this position about 3 years. Prior to that, I was over at the Opera. STG, as you know, is not only a presenter, but a not-for-profit organization that does over 850 events in 1 year, which includes Broadway, concerts, comedy, and in addition to that, we do a series of education programs. Last year in particular, we serviced over 33,000 participants, and happy to say that we're getting back to our pre-pandemic numbers of welcoming over 1 million people in the most recent year. We own and operate the Paramount Theater. We steward not only the Moore, the Neptune, but we also have a new outdoor venue in Carnation, Washington at Remlinger Farms, where we do a bunch of outdoor performances. That's all I got.
Wonderful. Thank you. The outdoor venue was news to me. That sounds fun.
Yeah, that came online last spring, summer.
Great. And then Kate, if you want to round out our intro.
Yeah, thanks, Leigh. I'm Kate Nagle Caraluzzo, the Executive Director of Town Hall Seattle. I'm newly appointed in this role. Bill and I are we're twins. I think it's been about 6 months for both of us. But I've been on the town hall team for 7 years. Town hall is a nonprofit venue housed in a historic home at 7th and Seneca. And we're both a producer of programming. And then we're also home to about 100 nonprofits in the region. We prioritize access to the space for our programming and for our rental rates. So we're below market. Our tickets start at just $10. And it's one of the most affordable places to rent in Seattle. And we present programming across arts and culture, civics, science, music, concerts. Everything you can imagine is housed under the town hall umbrella. And we have three different venues in our building. And we bring in about 125,000 people through the door each season.
Wonderful. Thank you. Um, so this is not the next question on my list that we talked about, but Bill and Alvin, you both mentioned educational and sort of outreach programs. And I know that finding space and money and time for the arts for individual schools can be tough and is getting tougher. Would you like to share a bit more about that? Are they new programs or have they been running for a while? Have they changed since COVID?
Yeah, our touring program that goes into schools has been running, gosh, it predates me. So, and I've been here just shy of 25 years. So I think that it must be about 30 years that the program's been running. Um, it's changed over the years in that it's grown and we go to more places. When I first got to the Fifth Avenue, it went mostly in Seattle, and now we're touring throughout the state. And we dip a toe into Oregon. We go just across the border. I do think it's changed since the pandemic. I think when we first came back, schools were unsure about bringing in visitors into the schools. That has returned back to more normal levels. And you're absolutely right. Funding for the arts and education has really been cut over the years. And so without programs like what STG does and what the Fifth Avenue does, there are a lot of students who might not get exposed to the arts. And I think it's really important for healthy societies to have arts. So we try to make it a priority to keep these programs going.
I would agree. I'm originally from New York, and I'll tell you that growing up as a kid in New York, we had opportunities to go to Broadway. We had opportunities to go to different. I remember seeing New York City Ballet for the first time because they came to my elementary school. That's all gone away now. And we have to find different ways as organizations, we have to find different ways to be innovative. So the programs here bring kids in. We do student matinees, or we go into the schools, or we go into the community and do workshops and regular programming within the community and have people participate. So for example, one of our newest program, which will kind of kick off in 2025, is called Resonate. And it's given young individuals who are in the music industry an opportunity to come and meet professionals in the business and give them the tools that they need and succeed in the music industry. We have the Ailey program, which is a camp that we've done for years. And we do everything from busing the kids into the space, feeding them, and giving them workshops, both physical workshops and emotional things that they may need to get through life.
That's great. Thank you both for sharing. So we'll go back on script now. Our next question, I would love to share, or love for you to share some exciting opportunities or innovations or projects currently happening at your organizations. Kate, we'll start with you.
Yeah, thanks. Uh, Innovation is Town Hall's middle name. We aim to be a reflection of Seattle and our community. We're currently experimenting with our programming mix. I think trying to get people excited to come both downtown and into the First Hill corridor. Just last Friday night, there was a cover band called the Cool Babies, and there was 200 people in our downstairs space. And they do Stop Talking Sense, the Talking Heads, the full run. So it was very fun. And upstairs during that, we also had Fever, who does candlelight concerts. They were here with their We Call It Ballet series. So in that night alone, there was like 1,000 people coming through the space, which is always really exciting. And I think that's also a reflection of earlier that week was election night, which was heavy in our building. And we had a live screening of local journalists talking about the election, and then upstairs we did reading through it. So if you needed to avoid election coverage. So those are some of the things, like we're trying to be really reactive to what people are both asking for and what we think people want to be in community for.
Thank you. Alvin, what's TG?
I would say to you that, like Kate, we're trying to have our program be reflective of the community. So we've done a very expansive program in the Spanish speaking or Latino community in terms of we present a lot of artists um, from the Latin community and Latin programming. We're also looking at um, immersive um, the immersive space. How do we incorporate that into the programming? So I think one of the things that we're trying to do is make sure that the programming, again, is reflective of what the community wants and what the community needs. I don't know how innovative it is, but one of the things that we've done since I've been here is try and make our audience more welcoming and making sure that our audience is reflective of the community. So we identified that in the future, the Latino community is going to be the dominant community in the King County area. And we've begun a focus on how do we make sure to bring them into our spaces in terms of programming, in terms of feeling welcoming, and what kind of partnerships could we have with that community. So we started a group called the Consortium, where we deal with individuals from the Latino community coming together and talking about how best to serve the needs of the community.
Thank you, Bill.
Well, I want to steal all their ideas, which were fantastic, and that was a huge but similarly, I mean, we're looking at our programming mix and saying, is this the right mix of programming for the audience that exists? Is it what they want? Asking a lot of questions. I think one of the innovations we've been working on, which I'm not sure is a major innovation, but we've been really focused in on, for everything we do, finding partners that want to work with us in meaningful ways, not just, gosh, we hope you'll help us sell tickets, but how can we amplify their messaging and what they're doing and create nights where they're celebrated as part of what we're doing in this building, and then going out into the community. I think one of the things we're really striving to do is not be bound by the four walls of the Fifth Avenue Theater, and actually say, what can we do outside of here, and bring arts into other places, but not just bring it. Ask them, what would you like us to bring to you? Are you interested in us being there? And what things would be of value to you? And how can you be part of everything? So that's been a real focus over the last year, I would say, to really start to work more on those areas. And then diversifying the programming in general. I mean, the Fifth Avenue will always be a place where musical theater is a major part of what we do, but also saying, there might be people who have never set foot in this building because they don't really love musicals, or I like to say they don't know they love them yet. And so is there other programming that we can do that would attract them in, and they'd go, oh, it's cool in here. I love coming into this space. And, oh, look, they're doing, I don't know, Mary Poppins, and I'd love to bring my kids to that. that they just hadn't thought of that yet. And so it's finding ways to diversify that. Sorry, I'm going on. We have one other thing that our marketing director, senior director of marketing, Becky Whitmer, it says a lot. We need to eventize. It's not enough just to put on a show anymore. We need to have
Right.
other reasons for people to be excited to come downtown and into these spaces. So really thinking about how do we eventize everything we do so that when you walk in the building, yes, you know you're going to see a show and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time, but then you have a surprise element that makes it more than. So you start to say, oh, when I go there, something cool always happens beyond just the show.
And I think what's going on with a lot of attendees is, especially in the Latin community, they want to make sure that when they come here, they realize that it's not only welcoming, but they're going to see themselves, meaning the staff is reflective of who they are. Or if or if they come to the window, somebody and they can't speak English, somebody in the box office can speak to them in Spanish, or one of the ushers can assist them to their seats. One of the things we found out in some focus groups last year was that it was, they all said, it's all good and plenty for you to present and invite us in. What we really want to do is make it worth our while when we come. Make sure that we're coming for the right reason and understand that being there is very reflective of them and their community.
And I think so much of that is this post-2020 outlook for organizations and theaters in town. Like, we're thinking so much of our innovation is relationship based right now. Like, what I love hearing Bill talk about and Alvin talk about is that we're thinking about how we are actually having relationships to our patrons. It's so much more than a transactional ticket purchase. And it's because we're nonprofits, but it's also like baked into the mission of each of these venues and these like beautiful historic homes that we get to steward. I think a lot about this education outreach piece too. And Town Hall has a program called 22 and Under, and it's like the Fifth Act and STG are all doing this. Like, how are we stewarding the next generation of ticket buyers and our donors and our members? And it's such an important innovation piece for all of our organizations right now as we like strive to exist post-pandemic.
Well, it's also survival for the future, because what's going on, and I think I've been around a little longer than most everyone here. When I got into business, it was like, let's renew as many people as we can. Let's get the donations in, and that's where we stop. Now, as organizations, we have to look a little further than that. So what's going to be the next generation? Is it Gen Z? Well, if it's Gen Z, then we're going to have to focus on how we're going to get them in the door now. How we're going to get them to start contributing now. And just because I live in a Latino community doesn't mean you can't directly talk to me about giving donations and subscribing and welcome me into your space.
Yeah, we started calling.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay. We started calling it future-proofing the audience. And what are we doing today to future-proof the audience? Because we love our current audience. They're amazing, but some of them are going to go away at some point, and we need new people to join us. And so I agree with what Alvin just said. So much of what we did when I first started too was just keep the same people coming over and over. And that is not a winning strategy for the long run. We need to be thinking about 10 years from now, who's going to be in those seats, and how do we make sure that they know that that's something they would enjoy, that they feel welcome, that they feel that it's an organization that belongs to them.
Such great conversation there. I hear making it experiential and relationship based. And you all three kind of talked about changing demographics in your audience, looking to the future, other than audience aging, wanting to get in with the younger group, or as Alvin mentioned, expanding your sort of population reach into the Latino community. Have you seen any other shifts in who is coming to shows now? I'm sure it changed after the pandemic and just changes in downtown in general? Do you have those sorts of insights into who your audience is now? I mean, is it mostly people coming from within Seattle, or folks still coming in from the rest of King County? Is there anything there?
Yeah, I do have a little bit of insight into that because we've been full transparency. Before the pandemic, the Fifth Avenue had between 18,000 and 23,000 subscribers annually. And coming out of the pandemic, we dropped down to 7,500. And so, as you can imagine, we've done a lot of data diving to try to go, who are the people that left? Why did they leave? What can we learn? Is there a way to bring them back? And one of the surprising things going into that data dive was our assumption was we lost people from the outskirts of Seattle. We lost people from, places outside of Seattle, but our Seattle strongholds would probably be where the most of the audience was. It's the exact opposite. The data actually revealed we lost people in Queen Anne at a high rate, in Magnolia at a higher rate. Which was really interesting. So that's something we've been like going, okay, what does that mean? How do we need to engage with our more immediate surroundings? Downtown is one of the fastest growing neighborhoods. It still is. Despite everything that people talk about downtown, it is still one of the fastest growing residential neighborhoods. That's a huge audience that for all of us, we can be their neighborhood cultural hangout. And I think we at the Fifth anyway are really going, okay, how do we do that? What do we need to do to make people think, oh, I just walk 3 blocks and I go to the Fifth Avenue, or I come from Queen Anne and I go to the Fifth Avenue. That's an easy journey, people. It's easy to get from Queen Anne to downtown. But that was surprising that we really thought it was going to be the opposite. We thought that's who's still coming. Wasn't true.
Because of our programming, I will say to you that depending on what's on stage, nothing stops people. For example, Wicked is on stage right now and they want it. They're coming downtown. We will, as of this morning, I think we're over 90,000 individuals that will see this show by the time it closes. I think what's going on is, and I'm going to jump ahead a little in terms of how we're working together, is that we have to figure out a way that these historical theaters are a point of destination, and working together, bring back, make downtown a destination. And one of the things that we're doing right now, all of us, is working together to create a campaign around driving people downtown, because I think because of the pandemic, people went and say, "I'm not going downtown." All the stores are gone except for Nordstrom, and we need to figure out how to get people back in the downtown corridor. And that's probably why I would imagine some of the people like going from Queen Anne are not coming downtown, because it has some negative things surrounding it. And we just have to figure out ways to entice and delight people that they want to come downtown. And we're working with the DSA, and all of us are coming together in a collaborative way to create this sort of commercial or opportunity for people to come downtown. Just so you know, there is a group, we refer to ourselves as the Historic Downtown Theater Group. And what's with the balloons? My hands are flying too much. Anyway, that's one thing that, how we're collaborating and making downtown a point of destination. And sorry I went off track in terms of, what your question is, but that's one way that we're working together.
No, that's great. So Kate, if you want to share anything on Town Hall Seattle's audience, or we can move on. That was a great launch into our next question, which is, would love to hear more about the historic downtown theater group, or just other ways that you're collaborating with each other or other arts and cultural institutions, especially maybe some of the smaller ones, if there's any space there.
Yeah, I'll just say because we are our producer and a rental venue, we have the unique position where we can see our rental partners' demographics and ours side by side. And the thing that collectively we're missing for all of our producing presenters and for us too is the foot traffic that used to just come in through the building. And I think that, Bill, this is also true for you, whereas I feel like STG is more of an experience because people are headed there usually, where like there's just less traffic, less people walking by the building, less people walking by the
Yep.
marquees. So it feels very different downtown. And I think that's reflected in all of our demographics as a theater district right now. And like that's where we are excited to like start to solve problems. And I think to Alvin's point, this like joint marketing campaign is really going to help just remind even our local Seattleites that like we are home to your cultural experience. Nothing stops anyone from showing up to a Seahawks game, and you can't tell me that Lumen Field isn't full every weekend. So it's the same, we need the same attitude as we think about our arts and culture institutions in Seattle. How do we draw people in? Because it's more than parking, it's more than just coming downtown. Like we are your experience of the city. So join us down here and we'll provide that back to you.
Yep.
I'd love to jump in and also say it's about changing the perception of downtown because as
Yeah.
someone who lives and works downtown, I can tell you downtown is coming back. There are restaurants
Yep.
opening on several corners right around the Fifth Avenue. I think that's true all throughout downtown. There's a lot
Mhm.
of renewed energy, and people are still believing it's what it was, I don't know, I'll say in the middle of the pandemic when everything was shut down. That's not what's happening downtown anymore. It's we've moved to a new sort of, we'll call it a rebirth a little bit of downtown.
Yep.
And that's what's so exciting, like having the opportunity to showcase these places. And like none of our buildings are ever empty, right? The Fifth is always producing, STG is always producing. There's always an event happening at Town Hall. So just getting people that muscle memory of what it feels like to come downtown and be a part of, be in community and be a part of these places is really special.
Thank you.
And no other city has 4 historical venues or 5 historical venues like Seattle does. And in fact, um, if you don't take if you don't take advantage of this, you're really missing out on some great live performances. Whether it's Town Hall, whether it's the Paramount or the Moore or the Fifth, there's always something for everyone. You know, it needs to be written in people's brain. This is a destination that I must go to or I want to go to.
Speaking of historic venues, I think all of us are about to have like 100-year anniversaries of our
Yeah,
buildings as well. Like we
yeah,
will in 19 we were opened in 1926, so we're just a little bit of ways now from our 100th. And I think that's amazing that all these buildings have survived and are still being utilized for their intended purposes of gathering
yep,
communities together to experience the best of humanity.
yep.
Are you doing a joint birthday party?
I don't think we've
I
gotten quite that far yet, but what a good idea. Sounds
that's a
like
great
sounds like
idea.
fun.
I mean, they happen in different years. So
Yeah.
like we're like 2028 for the Paramount. And I don't know what the Fifth is.
Yeah, we're gonna be in 2026.
Yeah.
And
So
Town Hall turned 100 15 years ago. This building is old.
Wow.
yeah.
Well, I think my house is from the same era, so make sure I get an invite. Um, so if there's nothing else that you want to say on the collaboration question, we can move on. We've touched on it some, but are there any other challenges facing your organization and the arts, culture, heritage, science sector? And how are you addressing these? Is there anything that we haven't talked about yet there?
But the biggest
money.
challenge for me, everyone's couch is super comfortable, and the pandemic got us really like loving staying home. And so I think really one of the challenges the arts and culture faces is enticing people to leave the comfort of their amazing homes. Um, I I know I personally have had moments of like, do I really want to go out tonight? And I'm a person who loves to go out and do stuff. But I didn't have that experience before the pandemic. I was ready, willing, and able. And now sometimes I slow down and I imagine as you move further into people who they don't live and breathe what we do, it becomes even more like, oh, I could just stay and I could stream something tonight. And I think that's why we keep talking about eventizing at the fifth. Like, how do we make it more special that you feel like if you don't go, you're gonna miss out on something really, really cool.
Yeah. I would say the number one thing for all of us are funds
Oh.
or money. While we're doing okay in this space, I know that my colleagues and us need money. I mean, expenses keep going up, whether it's on the artist side or whatever, expenses are going to keep going up. And we need to find resources to make those expenses low so that people want to go, because tickets account for some, fundraising is accounting for another portion of it. And that's lacking in a lot of ways because corporate donations are off. People aren't seeing themselves donating to an organization. And that's where, the business sector could help all of us in terms of what we do and how we do it. So from my point of view, I would say the biggest challenge facing all of our organizations and the industry is cash, funding, fundraising. I don't care what label you want to put on it, but that's if we're going to survive, we're not only going to survive on ticket sales, but we need donations.
I'm
Yeah,
officially changing my answer to agree with Alvin, by the way.
I agree with both of your answers so much. And I don't want to sound Pollyanna-ish when I say this, but it's so much more than thinking about the challenges ahead of these organizations, because we all have them. And if you sat with any three of us, we would tell you all of the things that we're trying to solve for. But there's also an opportunity in these challenges, and it's each of these organizations are rising to the challenge of how we face new opportunity. And I think like all three of us are talking about programming mix and demographics. We're all thinking about how these buildings and these programming exist in 25 years. And like that is an opportunity for us to create new relationships and be an incredibly important part of both civic and civil and cultural discourse. And like, how do we introduce that as an opportunity and not just a challenge? Because every time there's an article that says arts and culture is dying in Seattle, I guarantee it makes all three of us cringe internally because it's just not true. So how can we reintroduce this incredible city to all of these places? And like that is such a gift that we have an opportunity to solve for together. And I think like that's where our collaboration comes into play. Each venue in town, I think we're talking more than we've ever talked before as leaders of these institutions. And like, we need everyone's time and treasure and talent to make all of these venues still be here in 100 years. And like, that's the most important thing we can ask for.
Thank you. Um, we are getting close to time, so I'm going to squeeze in a quick question just if you have anything you want to add, because it has come up a few times already. But I would love to talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. Is there anything else there that you'd like to talk about, how your organizations are working to make the arts more accessible to underrepresented communities or other impacts there?
One of the things that Town Hall is most excited about right now is our venue access program. We have been stewarding a relationship with one small nonprofit each season, and they're 3-year partnerships. And the current partner is Orchestra Northwest, and they're incredible. It's a Latinx run community orchestra, and they get to be in our building for 4 days each season, and we literally hand over the keys. So we provide the production support, our marketing team helps them, they get technical assistance, but they just come in and run the building like it's their own. And it brings in an entirely new audience for them. It means that we're seeing new people through the space, and it's an opportunity for them to produce in a venue that is unlike any venue that they've been in before. It's not a school, it's not a cafeteria, like it's a real life venue. And for us, that has been a way for us to really think about diversity and equity and inclusion throughout our programming by highlighting other folks in a big, broad way.
One of the things that we're doing is we've instituted a program called the Ricardo Fraser program. And this is a program that is, as they say, creating, training those individuals that in the future may lead an organization. I can only speak to myself. When I was in graduate school, I wanted to become a Broadway company manager. And I remember going to New York and everybody said, good luck with that. Because at that time, there was no BIPOC representation in AFPAM, which is the union for company managers. And when you look around some of the major arts organizations, there was no leadership. The Ricardo Fraser program is making sure that we have leaders for the future. So that's one of the things. Our education program has a mantra to serve 75% of the unrepresented BIPOC community. That's a huge amount. And then so what we want to do is get our whole organization on the same page in every department. So we've already, diversifying the board, diversifying the staff, diversifying this, the audience. We want to make sure that everybody's on the same page and on the same percentage.
Yeah, for us, it's about finding ways to truly engage in relationship with those communities and not just come up with solutions that we think are this is what's needed. So we kind of have deep conversations with partners about what they actually want from the Fifth Avenue Theater before we start to engage in activities. But one thing that we really focused on was Global Majority Nights at the Fifth Avenue, which is a thing we started about a year ago. And that's a new program. And we always create a partnership with an organization in Seattle. Red Eagle Soaring has been a partner. The Hansberry Project has been a partner. And it's about bringing people into the space in community with each other and having them experience the beauty of live performance as well.
Thank you. All right, we're on our last question. I just have to say, I'm getting so excited. I have a toddler, and I can't wait for him to be old enough to start experiencing your institutions and the other arts organizations in Seattle. I love going to shows, and I'm so excited to start bringing him. And it sounds like you're all planning to be here, providing great content for a long time. So hopefully he can enjoy it into the future. So our last question here, this is a chamber event, so I have to close it out with a question about the broader business community in Seattle. What relationship is there already, and what opportunities are there for increased collaboration or support for your organizations from just the general business community in Seattle? What can we do to help you?
I mean, I think that we need as an industry to tell a better story about how we are drivers of the economy. To be quite honest, it's one of the things that I think I hear messages about, oh, we need to spend money on all these other things, and we do. And yet the economy, as you started out, your statistics at the beginning about how many people participate, that translates into real dollars that get spent. And all of us are hiring local people at our institutions, so we're employing people at the Fifth. We employ over 700 people a year making the things that we make. But I think that there's an idea that the arts are a drain on the economy. We're not a drain, we're a driver of the economy.
Yep.
A statistic that we have, which I hope I'm getting right, and I think I am, or I'm real close to it. For every dollar someone spends on a ticket at the Fifth Avenue, they're going to spend three more dollars in the downtown corridor somewhere. Parking, restaurants, shopping, hotels,
Yep.
or going to another venue and experiencing another show, while they're visiting Seattle. So that's huge. And I think the business community needs to hear that message more. I don't think that message always is getting through because we talk about so many other things. I cringe every time I read the arts are doomed and dying. I love that you said that, Kate, because it's like, I need that article to stop. And I need the article about how powerful what we do to be written.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I think costs are rising for everyone. It's not just nonprofits. It's particularly hard for the nonprofit sector because we think about profitability in a different way. And I think for all of these venues, something we're thinking about as I look downtown is the parking situation downtown can be challenging. And we have some great parking partners, but we're always looking for more. We have wonderful restaurant and hotel partners, but we're always looking for that engagement. We're always looking for new board members and leadership for these organizations. The amount of times Bill and I run into each other at Vox talking to prospective board members is high. So like we're just always looking for people who want to be involved and engaged on a deeper level. And that is one thing that corporations I think can lend to the nonprofit sector is a whole new level of expertise and support for all of us.
Yep. Happy employees, or happy art attendees, people who go to see performances make happy employees. So basically, if they support us and they're employed, it's creating a relationship with us that they pass on to the employees and vice versa. Because if they don't come, they're not being good citizens in the community and they don't understand what they're missing.
Great. Well, thank you all so much. I'll give it just a minute here for any final thoughts.
As a venue operator, we feel so lucky to be in the downtown corridor. And I'm so grateful for our partners in the Historic Theater District and for the Chamber and for Downtown Seattle Association. So thank you for both hosting this and always paying attention to the arts and culture sector.
Thanks for bringing us together and having this dialogue because we need more of this. And I see us doing a lot more of this as we start this rebirth process in terms of the downtown corridor.
100% agree with my colleagues. Thank you so much for engaging in this conversation. And I've loved hearing some things. We spend time with each other, but we don't always get to go as deep as we did a little bit today. And that was really wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, and thank you to the three of you. So again, we have Bill Berry from the Fifth Avenue Theater, Alvin Henry from Seattle Theater Group, and Kate Nagle Caraluzzo from Town Hall Seattle. Thank you so much for your time this morning. This was a great conversation. And hopefully I will see you all soon and our audience will enjoy a show at one of your organizations. So thank you very much.
Have a good rest of your day. Bye.